Hey guys, it is Monday, March 8th. Yesterday was the Oscars. Pretty good. A lot of made a lot of good choices, some not so good ones. A lot of unexpected things, a couple unexpected things, like Sandra Bullock winning Best Actress, although I think she probably deserved it. Um, a lot of things that I knew was going to happen, like Avatar won Best Visual. I mean, come on. And Hans Landa got Best. The guy who portrayed Colonel Hans Landa got Best Supporting Actor, which was great because that's like one of the best performances I've seen, let alone this year. Um, and Avatar didn't win Best Picture, so overall a pretty good night. But it got me thinking. I have a video to do that's kind of like that, and it's not going to have Alec Baldwin or Steve Martin, and it's not going to have Barbara Streisand or Tyler Perry giving an awkward all by himself stage performance, and it's not going to have Charlize Theron with her flower boobs dress, but it is going to have my top 10 favorite games of 2009. Been working on this list for a little while, at the TV and in my mind, because the reason it's taking me so long is I had a backlog of games that I had to play that I owned that were from 2009 that were contenders, and I'm glad I did that because they ended up being on this list. So here's the deal. I'm just going to kind of go, and then I'm going to split this into however many parts it ends up being, because I don't feel like limiting myself. And look, I've already spent, however long just talking crap, so it's for the best. If you grow impatient, you can skip to the last video when that comes out, and I'll go through all of them again. Um, so, 3 bullet points before I start. First things first. Um, if you watched my top 50 games of all time, then you know that I'm not saying that these are the 10 best games of 2009. I don't feel like I have the authority or even gaming experience to claim that these are the 10 best games of 2009, but I definitely have the authority to tell you that these are my 10 favorite games of 2009. So that's the first bullet point. Second of all, I'm not going to do any downloadable content. I know there was a couple games that got some pretty good press, like Flower was a downloadable content. Even Ballad of Gay Tony, I'm not going to put on here. I don't know why. I just feel like maybe I feel differently towards full-sized retail games, so that's kind of my reasoning, however lame that may be. And if you don't like that reason, then my video, my rules. And thirdly, I didn't get a chance to play every game that came out in 2009, obviously. Some notable ones, I didn't play Demon Souls, which I know got a lot of press for being a pretty good and quite hard PlayStation 3 action-adventure RPG game. So I didn't get a chance to play that, and I heard it was pretty good. I didn't play Dragon Age Origins. I know that got a lot of press. And I didn't play Ratchet and Clank Future Crack in Time. Another one that I wish I probably would have played, although I'm kind of still catching up on the Ratchet and Clank games. I'm still in the PS2 era, so it might be a while till I even play that game. And also DJ Hero, I know got a lot of good words said about it as being a unique music game. So there you go. Those are the three things you need to know before I start my list, and that's all. So here we go. We'll start with number 10 and go up to number 1. First one on the list. Number 10 is Brutal Legend. This game came out like like I forget when it came out. Whatever. um, in either case, it performed okay. I didn't expect it to do really well as far as sales go, but I think it did pretty well for what they had to work with. Those of you who don't know anything about it, it's Double Fine's second game that they've created, the first being Psychonauts, of course. Tim Schafer is the genius behind all that stuff. And this game, I want to say something about it. It probably misrepresents itself a little bit. Being about rock and metal music is sort of the theme. You'd think that when I think of like that being transformed into a pure game genre, I think of like just a take no prisoners action adventure, combat based game. And while there is some of that, and it's done pretty well, there's also some like free roaming, open world driving segments, and there's like races. And one thing that the kind of it sort of works it into it, and especially near the end, the main focus of the game is, and it's RTS battles. Most of the main storyline is going to be centering around these RTS battles, which I guess I kind of get because it's like they want to do it. It's like a rock show, and you're putting together a show, and it's showing all the things that you need, and it really works sort of the aesthetics of a rock show well into an RTS theme. But for lovers of RTSs, hardcore RTS players, it's just not going to be complex enough. It's pretty simple. And for anybody who's just wanting kind of a pure action game, you're not going to have the patience probably. So it kind of falls in between. And as such, the game kind of ends up being like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And but some great things about it, things you've come to expect from Double Fine and Tim Schafer. The characters are great, the storyline is awesome, and the dialogue is hilarious. This is considerably more adult than Psychonauts was, but it delivers on so many levels in that aspect. I would also say it contains one of the most creative game worlds that I've seen, which is one of the main reasons why it's on this list. It feels like you're playing in an album cover, a living, breathing album cover the entire way through. And it's just a really fun experience. The storyline, for those with patience, or who like a little mixture, a little grab bag of game genres. The story will definitely carry you all the way to the end. I actually haven't finished this game yet, and I'm a little disappointed in myself, but I will get around to it. You gotta check this game out, especially if you are a fan of Tim Schafer and want to support him. But do remember that it is not just a plain action game, or even platforming. There's not even a jump button, which I know some people gave this game a lot of grief for. It was one of the main things people gave grief for. That and lack of a minimap. But the open world gameplay, the RTS battles, that's all in here. So, if you're a fan of Psychonauts, then you should probably check out this game. So, number 10, Brutal Legend. All right, coming in at number 9. Is Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars for the Nintendo DS. Grand Theft Auto, is a franchise that has really become sort of a higher level of a franchise. It's something to be respected. Every time they turn out a game, it's pretty good, especially the numbered installments or the big installments for game systems. So I understand that some people would be a little bit worried about its translation into handheld format. But let me tell you what this game has to offer. It still has gunplay. It still has you're still stealing cars and driving them and escaping cops. And it's a little. They always change the dynamics up a little bit. And there is some stylus segments. And a lot of times for DS games, when they put stylus segments in, I feel like they're sometimes kind of tacked on, which is understandable because it's kind of hard to, implement stylus things into a normal game. But it really kind of goes off without a hitch. Like sometimes you have to hotwire a car, and that requires your stylus. And when you make Molotov cocktails at a gas station, depending on how well you perform at a little stylus mini game, is how many Molotovs you get for your money. So, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars is something that should be approached with knowledge that it's not going to be as complete as a regular Grand Theft Auto game. But let me tell you, it has survived. This franchise has survived the transition to handhelds very well. The story and the characters are not as deep or as compelling, but I will say that at its heart, it still feels like a Grand Theft Auto game. And if anybody who likes the franchise really should do themselves a favor and check this game out. I haven't played the PSP version. I don't know what they did. Instead of the stylus games, they might have done some, I don't know, like button mashing. I don't know what they did. I heard that game was good too. So, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars was not only the ninth on this list, but also was my favorite handheld game of 2009. So, DS owners, you should try this game out. So, number 9, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown.